Hey guys, welcome to this quick video about formatting VTs for the television studio at Bournemouth University. I'm going to explain how to set up your sequence settings in terms of PAL encoding, but then also further on to the export settings that you need for the university system. Before we start talking about actually putting it into a machine, encoding it, rendering it, and setting up sequence settings, we need to talk about actually recording video. At the end of the day, you want to be recording in a PAL system format. So you want to be either recording in 25p or 50p, and you also need to think about the sort of video quality. So you can run at 4K or at 1080p, completely up to you, but whatever you record in, you also need to edit in. Let's jump over to the computer. First thing that we're going to do when we come over to the computer is actually look at the sequence settings and project settings. So what we need to do is open a new sequence, so that's Control N or Command N on your keyboard. And then what we're going to look at are the presets we've got. I've already got some presets set up, so I've got PAL 25 for both 4K and 1080 and PAL 50 for 4K and 1080 as well. So to open a new sort of sample, what you want to do is just head over to the settings tab. You want to change your editing mode to custom. If custom doesn't appear, just change your time base. Then what we're going to do, because this is my 50 frames per second version, I'm going to change my frame rate to 50 frames per second. I set the frame size, so this one's 1920 by 1080. Square pixels, no fields, progressive scan. Display format 50 FPS timecode. You can choose the color space. Most of the time I just use Rec 709, self-explanatory. Audio sample rate, 48,000. Audio samples, you can change that if you would really like. Preview file format, set that to only MPEG, and then you obviously set your width and height. Then what I would do, I'm just going to name this preset test, save this preset. And I'm going to save this preset as I mentioned again. I'm going to save it as test, and then you can set description if you really want. I'll just put that as test as well. And then now that's saved, whenever you open up your preset selection, obviously it takes a little while to upload it, you now see that there's another one at the bottom. So this is obviously encoding at 1920 by 1080 at 50 frames per second. So if I open this now, we now have a new timeline that is based at 50 frames per second. As I have mentioned already, you need to make sure that the settings that apply to your sequence are the original settings that you have shot in. So say you're shooting in 4K 25 for power setting, you then want to be editing in 4K 25. You can descale and upscale, but it makes it a little bit harder, and it's much easier to edit in the native format that you're going to be exporting in. So this one here on my screen is actually in 4K 25 PAL, just the way that it has worked. So once we've got the sequence all sorted out, and once you've finished your edit, what you want to do is hit Control and M on your keyboard. And what that's then going to pull up is this export window. So for the TV studio, you need to make sure you have the correct format. So we need to scroll down and go to MXFOP1A. Press on that one. Give it a couple of seconds to load up. And then the preset you also need to set. So that then needs to scroll down, and you need to go down to the correct preset. So correct preset for the studio is XAVC QFHD Intraclass 350p. So that's basically, it's running at 300 megabytes at 50 frames per second. So we press that. Once that has all sorted out, you need to just double check a couple things. You need to check if your audio is in the correct channel, obviously 8-channel audio. Audio codec is uncompressed. Other than that, everything should all be the same. Then what you want to do is hit Q. That will then bring us over to media encoder, and then we can hit play or start render. The issue with using an MXF wrapper is the fact the file sizes are going to be really, really huge. So for a video like this, if I'm using the H.264 encoding, especially for YouTube, that is probably going to end up with a 2 GB file. Whereas when you're using an MXF file format, you're looking at another 10 GB. So it's quite big. So this file came out to be about 12 gig. So just keep that as a heads up. If you have any questions about exporting videos, please drop a comment down in the comments section so I can answer anything for you. It's very, very technical, so I just made this video to try and help you guys out. I hope that helps. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in a bit.